It's taken me multiple attempts to film this video for various reasons, including the noise outside, which I'm really sorry if that is in the background. I don't film using high quality equipment, so there's not really anything I can do about it. I mean, I could film it another time, but I want to do it now, so I am. Also, I'm just feeling a bit weird, getting used to filming somewhere new. I'm sorry if that comes across and things are awkward and weird. Here I am making a video about sex positivity. As is very obvious, I'm going to be talking about sex in this video. If you are a member of my family or someone that you do not think I would be comfortable with watching this video, please don't watch it. It's that simple. I mean, you can if you want, but it's going to be awkward for both of us and, well, more awkward for you, to be honest. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to know unless you tell me. Then it will be really awkward for me and I won't know what to say. So yeah, just exercise your discretion in whether or not you think you should be watching a video where I talk about my experiences with sex positivity. As a broad ideology and worldview, sex positivity is simply the idea that all sex, as long as it is healthy and explicitly consensual, is a positive thing. This is the core idea that I'm going to be deconstructing today and talking about why I am not sex positive, which may come as a surprise to a lot of people who know me as a very vocal and outspoken feministy type person. But yeah, I am not sex positive and I think it is a flawed ideology, and that is what we're going to be talking about today if I stop thinking about how greasy my slightly damp hair looks. There is a lot of focus on consent in sex positivity. There is a sex positive campaign called Consent is Sexy, which is something that I really hate, and I'm just going to touch on that to start with. Consent is not sexy. Consent is the basic, you are a decent person line. Like, if you are having sex without consent, you are a horrible person, and it's not actually sex. You know what it is. So yeah, consent is not sexy, consent is necessary. But I don't think that consent is the black and white idea that sex positivity paints it as. That's what I'm going to break down here, talking about my personal experiences and why I think that it's a very reductive and unhelpful idea, actually, particularly for young people who are starting out, exploring their sexuality and banging people. I'm going to be talking about my experiences with an ex of mine. This is not meant to be me bashing her. I have spoken to her about these experiences quite recently, actually, and we've realised that kind of both of us were ignorant to an extent to what was going on with the other person. I want to talk about this because I think it's a very good example of the difficulties with consent being the baseline for the ideology of sex positivity. My ex and I got together a couple of years ago. We're together for 5 months. She was my first relationship, she was my first kiss, my first everything. A lot of our relationship involved us exploring and testing our own boundaries and learning about how to be in a relationship. I'm not a particularly sexual person, and she was. And for her, having someone to have sex with was a really, really exciting and new thing. For me, I could take it or leave it. If you told me I couldn't have any more sex ever in my life, I'd be like, nah, okay, whatever. I would be way more upset if you told me that I couldn't ever have bread again in my life. A lot of the time I was kind of about sex, particularly towards the end of our relationship, started being avoidant about it, and I didn't want to talk about it. I was embarrassed that I didn't want this thing that I had been led to believe that absolutely everyone wanted and was a key part of being a human being. When she said that me not wanting to have sex with her made her feel unattractive or unhappy, I immediately gave in because I was like, this is a compromise I have to make I have to be normal. I have to make this relationship work, and by having sex with her, that will achieve that. I was having consensual sex with her. I decided that yes, I was going to have sex, and I was, if not feeling thrilled about the prospect, I had weighed up the alternatives, and that was the decision I had made. Technically consensual. To look at that definition of sex positivity, we are saying that healthy and consensual sex is always a positive experience, but it wasn't. I resented it, and I wished that she could respect my wishes more originally, instead of trying to bring me round. It wasn't coercive, it wasn't actively anything out of the ordinary. I think a lot of relationships are like that. That definition of healthy and consensual as positive erases those experiences, those indifferences, and those take it or leave it attitudes to sex. For me, sex positivity really jarred because it didn't give me space to say sex isn't something that really excites me that often, and that's okay. I didn't find that space within sex positivity. Another example I'm going to talk about is how a lot of people, in my experience, this is particularly women, talking about masturbation on the internet. And I'm going to say wanking from this point on, but I thought I would clear it up just in case there are any Americans watching. That is what I mean. A lot of particularly young women talk about wanking on the internet and talk about how they can't believe that there are women out there who haven't made themselves orgasm. Obviously, this is very cis-centric. Not all women have vaginas, but this is kind of directed towards the women who do, and I guess presumably like non-binary people who do as well. Talking about wanking and kind of in a really patronising way, like, oh, I feel really sorry for women who don't come, for women who don't give themselves orgasms. It's not really a thing that gets me going, and I felt like there was something wrong with me, and I felt like I had to try it. Oh my god, there is a thunderstorm going on outside. Why is this video destined to not be made? Anyway, I'm going to carry on because I'm a trier. What was I even talking about? Wanking. Yeah, really doesn't, it's, you know, I could take it or leave it. I felt like I had to do this thing because I'm a feminist and I want to be empowered and experience every joy that my body has to offer, and the only reason that I feel bad about this is because the patriarchy has conditioned me to be this way. No, it hasn't. I just don't really care about wanking. It's not one size fits all. Just because that's the way that you feel empowered in your body does not make it empowering for everyone else. Vaginas are a really subjective experience. What is great for your vagina is not great for mine, and that's okay. Sex positivity, I don't think, addresses that well. Finally, I talk about my experiences as a person with kind of low sex drive, perhaps somewhere on the asexual spectrum, but I don't think people like me are the only people for whom sex positivity is not inclusive. I think for a lot of queer people, sex positivity doesn't really take into consideration viewpoints that are not cis and heterosexual. And yeah, I think it's really exclusionary for trans people. I don't think it takes into account the trauma of dysphoria and having sex in a body that you do not feel comfortable in. I don't think it's accessible for survivors and people for whom sex is a traumatic and difficult to deal with topic. I think it makes it into something black and white that doesn't have room for nuance and exploration and carving out a safer space that you feel okay in. I just think it's bad and poorly thought out and overly simplistic, and we can do better. That's all I'm saying. The importance of consent cannot be underrated, but also consent is oversimplified to something that almost doesn't make sense and excludes a myriad of experiences. I haven't even touched on healthy sex. What even is healthy sex? I feel like that definition could be weaponized against all sorts of marginalized people. I don't feel like I'm qualified to discuss that today. This video has just tapered off. I sort of tried to script it a bit, but it didn't go so well. But my last super scripted video, I don't know, felt a bit weird. So yeah, I guess I'm just feeling new house funkiness. But let me know what you think. Talk to me. Tell me why you are sex positive. Tell me that I made you consider your own sex positivity. Tell me that you think I'm completely wrong. Let me know. Hit me up. That's a thing you can do. Anyway, till next time, take care.